Okay, now in this part of the video, we're actually getting down to the name of the game, role-playing as your character. Now, everything that we've talked about up to this point has been leading more into building the character, but everything stacks down into how you portray your character. Your history shows how your character grew up and what shaped his personality. Your stats show what your character is capable of. Your class choice is what your character is very good at. Your race, cultural inclinations, things of that nature. All of this goes down into role-playing your character. Now, the easiest way to do this is just to imagine yourself as your character. Make the character as close to you as possible for you beginners. This makes it very easy to roleplay because essentially you're just being you. But as you get more and more familiar with it, you might want to play somebody who's a little bit different than you. You know, somebody who's a little more happy-go-lucky than you are, maybe a little more grim than you are. Some players play characters of the opposite sex. Some people play older characters, younger characters, things like that. The biggest and easiest way to act convincingly as your character is to follow the concepts and the goals that you set when you started building your character. You know, refer to your players by their character's name for you DMs. For you characters, refer to other characters by their character names. Request that they always call you by your name. And while we're on that subject, always give your character a name. And especially for you veterans, you know, you've always given your characters names, but give yourself a name, a title. You know, Tandem the Spoony, Gerald the Witless, Christoph the Brave, things like that. You know, something to make their names memorable, to avoid the common pitfall of being called by your class or your race, or the very worst, being referred to by your name and not your character's name. Because if you're role-playing, you're not you. You are your character. Names, titles, brave deeds. If you have a price on your head, mention that. These are all things that will help you role-play your character convincingly. And in my games, I actually give extra points towards experience, towards levels. If they role-play convincingly, if they role-play consistently, if they role-play at all, I give extra points. Because that's the name of these games. These are role-playing games. You don't go into a video game and get referred to by your name or by your race or things like that. You are actually playing out a role set up for you. You have specific answers to the questions that are based upon the character you've made. Why are tabletop games different? That's how the video games were based on. So next time you sit down at the table, be your character. You know, be the dwarf paladin. Be the elf ranger. Be the human wizard. You know, immerse yourself in the character when you build it. Imagine what they look like. You know, if they have a scar across their face, if they have a birth defect, you know, a clubfoot or a crippled hand, things like this. Portray them as you act. Be your character. Role play. That's the name of the game. The dice, the mechanics, everything, that's just window dressing. The primary aspect of these games are to be your character. To escape reality for a few hours a night. To have fun. And it is a lot more fun, in my opinion, that you can go out, be a wizard, throw fire, throw ice, throw all these magic spells, and be a hero. Because in this day and age, especially now, sometimes you need to leave reality behind, or else you go a little crazy. Is equipment purchases. Every class starts off with a base amount of gold, and you use that gold to purchase equipment. Like I said earlier on in the video, I house rule in some equipment for my players, like backpacks, bedrolls, rope, lanterns, things like that. Everything else has to be purchased with your starting gold, your weapons, your armor, things like that. And I'll get in more on that later on in another video, because equipment purchasing is such a large part of character playing, because it determines a lot of what you can and can't do. and the artificial limitation of how much gold you have to purchase your equipment with has a large part to do with what you actually get. So that will be a video entirely in and of itself. I didn't actually go into it with this video because it is a part of the game that does deserve its own portion, a full portion for just equipment, for arms, armor, class gear, tools, treasure, things like that. So I will touch on this. It's just for the speed of expediency for some of these things, I went ahead and purchased some basic armor for my bard, put it in there. I will also be going deeper into skills. Skills are a large enough part of the game that they will have their own video. And when we actually get down to the mechanics, I will discuss what things like armor class, hit points, initiative, things like that actually mean. And I'd like to apologize for the rough quality of this video. My camera has died, and the tripod that I had for my camera that I'm using right now doesn't exactly like staying up, so I am holding the camera in hand, and my cat Method here has made several guest appearances. Not all of them will actually be in the video because a lot of them wind up on the cutting room floor as bloopers. I will probably do a blooper reel one of these days. I'm just not sure when I'm going to get around to it. So thanks for watching. Hit like if you like it. Please leave a comment if you have any questions that you want me to address. Like the site, go join the site.